10. The Siberian muck graveyards.
Deep within the Siberian permafrost lies a geological mystery that defies conventional climate theory. Explorers have discovered massive hills composed almost entirely of ancient animal remains. These are not merely fossils, but partially preserved biological tissues. We find mammoth, rhino, and bison remains jumbled together in chaotic piles. Scientists call these bone beds, yet they are more like mass execution sites. The sheer volume of skeletal density suggests a rapid, localized death event. Geologists note that these bones show no signs of scavengers. They were buried instantly before predators could reach the carcasses. This suggests a sudden, violent transition in the environment. We must look at the specific stratigraphy of these sites. The orientation of the limbs indicates a struggle against an encroaching wall of debris. It is a record of an ancient, forgotten apocalypse. Such evidence contradicts the slow accumulation models taught in modern textbooks. Researchers like Graham Hancock have pointed to these sites as evidence of a lost global catastrophe. The scale of the carnage spans thousands of miles of Arctic terrain. We are essentially walking over an open-air crypt of prehistoric life. The frozen ground acts as a biological time capsule of a world ending in terror. The nanodiamonds signal. Beyond bones, the most damning evidence is found in the soil composition itself. Researchers have identified a specific layer rich in nanodiamonds. These structures only form under extreme pressure and heat, far beyond natural geological activity. They are markers of high-velocity cosmic impacts. When a comet explodes in the atmosphere, it creates a shockwave of thermal energy. This energy causes carbon to undergo rapid phase changes. The presence of these diamonds is globally synchronous, appearing on multiple continents simultaneously. This layer is referred to as the Younger Dryas boundary. It signals a moment where the planet's atmosphere became a furnace. It was not a volcanic event, as volcanic ash lacks this crystalline signature. Instead, it points to a celestial intruder detonating over the ice sheets. Critics once labeled this a pseudoscientific fringe theory. However, peer-reviewed data in journals like Science have validated these findings. The concentration of these diamonds is significantly higher than background levels. It suggests a massive, sustained impact event. We are looking at a planetary reset button pressed by the cosmos. The evidence is literally written in the dust beneath our feet. Each nanodiamond is a tiny witness to a firestorm that occurred 12,800 years ago. Fairy-tale thermodynamic snap freezing. The speed of the freeze witnessed in Siberian megafauna implies a thermodynamic impossibility under current climate models. Biology maintains core temperature through metabolic processes, requiring time to dissipate that heat. Yet, we see animals flash frozen with undigested summer vegetation still in their mouths. This requires a temperature drop of hundreds of degrees in seconds. Such an event would violate standard entropy progression in a local environment. It suggests the sudden introduction of a massive cold sink volume. Some theorists argue for a rapid orbital shift or a sudden atmospheric thinning. When the atmosphere loses its heat retention capacity, heat radiates into space instantly. This is the ultimate catastrophic cooling mechanism. If the planet loses its protective blanket, the surface plunges toward absolute zero. We see the remains of animals that were mid-stride, frozen in a state of sudden absolute stasis. There is no decay, no slow rot, and no predation. It is as if the universe paused their biological clock and locked it in ice. This phenomenon cannot be explained by seasonal change or gradual ice age onset. It demands a cataclysmic, instantaneous removal of ambient heat. This represents a violent, non-linear shift in our planetary history. The Yukon steam blasts. In the early 20th century, gold miners in the Yukon Territory stumbled upon a horrific reality beneath the topsoil. Using high-pressure steam hoses, they melted the permafrost to reach deep alluvial gold deposits. The process exposed thousands of square miles of ancient prehistoric graves. The stench of decomposing organic matter was overwhelming. They found limbs torn apart, spines twisted in agony, and remains mixed with debris. These were not just single animals, but millions of creatures, including mastodons, lions, and ancient horses. The soil was a chaotic slurry of frozen flesh and fractured bone. Miners often spoke of finding flesh that smelled like old meat in the permafrost. The sheer density of these deposits makes it clear that a mass burial occurred here. It wasn't a migration route, it was an intersection of death. The geological layering showed evidence of violent, massive movement. Mood, rock, and biological debris were fused in a single, chaotic event. This site, the Muck of Alaska, remains one of the largest mass casualty events in Earth's history. It suggests the landscape was completely inverted during a cataclysmic flood or slide. We are digging up a forgotten mass grave that defies standard paleontology. 6. The new Siberian bone islands. In the early 1800s, explorers navigating the Arctic seas near Siberia reported a discovery that defied belief. They mapped an archipelago that appeared to be constructed almost entirely of mammoth bones. These islands were not geologic formations in the traditional sense. They were heaps of death. The sheer volume of material suggests that these were transport points for debris. During catastrophic floods, materials tend to accumulate in whirlpools or coastal traps. The New Siberian Islands are essentially massive, frozen drift piles. They contain the remains of creatures that lived on lands now submerged beneath the sea. The preservation is so pristine that ivory hunters once made livelihoods from the tusks found there. This bone-rich landmass implies that the Arctic coastline once looked drastically different. It confirms that a massive water-driven event swept across the northern hemisphere. The islands remain a testament to the chaotic sorting power of prehistoric tsunamis. We are looking at a literal continent of wreckage deposited by the oceans. It is a haunting sight, a landscape built from the bones of a lost epoch. The islands serve as a physical wall of evidence for a global water catastrophe. The history of the Earth is written in these forgotten bones. The impact glass spikes. Impact glass is a secondary piece of evidence that solidifies the comet theory. When a massive kinetic energy event hits the surface, it melts the local Earth into glass. This glass is found in the same geological layer as the nanodiamond. It is a signature of temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius. This heat is not possible from standard lightning strikes or wildfire. It requires an explosion of immense power, localized over a specific area. Geologists have found these glass spherules in North America, Europe, and the Middle East. They are tiny, translucent beads that hold the history of an instant death event. They were ejected into the atmosphere at high velocity, cooling as they fell back down. This matches the description of a cosmic bombardment perfectly. It is the footprint of a fireball in the sky. By mapping the distribution of these beads, we can estimate the trajectory of the impact. The focus of the impact remains centered over the Laurentide ice sheet. The detonation likely vaporized a massive section of the ice, causing global sea levels to rise instantly. We are finding the solidified remains of that fire. It is silent, sharp, and undeniable proof of a sky-borne disaster. 4D, the black mat layer. Walking across the landscape, there is a physical scar that exists worldwide. It is the black mat layer, a dark, thin stratum appearing exactly 12,800 years ago. It marks the boundary between a vibrant, megafauna-filled world and a dead, silent one. The layer is composed of soot, charcoal, and organic ash. It represents the aftermath of global wildfires ignited by the impact blast. Everywhere we look, from the Americas to Europe, the story is the same. The life below this layer is lush and diverse, while the life above begins in a desolate, barren state. This mat is the carbonized remains of the old world. It is a biological cemetery that holds the ashes of a vanished civilization or ecosystem. It is not a natural soil deposit. It is a burn mark on the planet. The charcoal shows evidence of a flash ignition that left no time for slow burning. It matches the rapid cooling and atmospheric blackout that followed the impact. The layer is essentially a dead zone in the sedimentary record. We are staring at the residue of a global funeral pyre. The planet's history is cleaved in two by this thin, dark band of ash. 3 Thou, the megafloods of the de-glaciation. The impact of the comet triggered more than just fire, it caused a total collapse of the northern ice sheets. Thousands of cubic miles of glacial ice turned into water in an instant. This water had nowhere to go but down. Massive floods swept across the continent, scoring the landscape of all life. We see the geological signature of these floods in the form of Scablin's giant, barren channels carved into the rock. These are not the result of gradual erosion, they are the result of catastrophic hydraulic power. The water moved with such force that it displaced boulders the size of houses. It washed away entire megafauna populations, tumbling them into the piles of bone we find in Siberia and Alaska today. The sea levels rose by hundreds of feet in a short time. This caused the flooding of low-lying coastal plains, wiping out the ecosystems that lived there. We find marine fossils mixed with terrestrial animals, indicating a mixing of environments. This event is a classic example of a planetary reset caused by extreme energy discharge. It washed away the old world and set the stage for the modern epoch. The geology of North America is a scar of this singular, watery nightmare. We walk on the sediment of a global flood to the atmospheric blackout. After the impact and the floods, the planet faced a secondary apocalypse. Total darkness. Millions of tons of ash, water vapor, and particulate matter were blasted into the stratosphere. This created an atmospheric shroud that blocked the sun for years. Photosynthesis ceased, causing a total collapse of the global food chain. Plants died, herbivores starved, and predators followed them into extinction. This impact winter explains why the transition between the old world and the new was so absolute. We find no gradual signs of transition. There is a hard line where the life-rich strata end and the dead, ash-laden layers begin. This is the ultimate proof of a sudden, forced planetary reset. Animals were frozen in the dark, dying of cold or hunger before they could decompose. This is the source of the pristine, untouched state of the megafauna fossils we find today. The atmosphere was a coffin, preserving the victims until they were rediscovered by modern science. It is a terrifying realization that our biosphere is just one cosmic shadow away from silence. We are currently in a brief period of sunlight, oblivious to the history of the dark. The cycle of Earth is an eternal dance with catastrophe. We are just the current inhabitants of a resetting planet. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. The sum of all this evidence, nanodiamonds, impact glass, bone beds, and the black mat, points to one singular event, the Younger Dryas impact. 12,800 years ago, a massive fragmenting comet struck the northern hemisphere's ice sheets. This wasn't just a local disaster, it was a global reset button for the planet. The impact caused the megafauna extinction, the end of the Clovis culture, and a thousands-year shift in climate. Skeptics originally laughed at the hypothesis, but the evidence has become overwhelming. From the sediments of the Arctic to the peaks of the Andes, the record is consistent. The universe is not a static place. It is a chaotic environment prone to massive, violent shifts. We walk around believing we are the masters of our environment, yet we are living in the quiet aftermath of an apocalypse. The frozen giants beneath our feet are warning us that the reset button is real. The comet that broke the world once could easily return again. The archive is there for anyone willing to dig beneath the surface and look. We are the survivors of a cosmic fire, waiting for the cycle to turn once more. Our survival is a brief, fragile window in a much longer history of cosmic devastation. History is a cycle of fire and ice. The Earth holds the keys to its own past.